Welcome to AudioCert, where the official study guides are brought to life. Hello, and thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We're about to tackle something absolutely fundamental, really, to understanding project management, especially if you're, navigating your path towards that project management professional or PMP certification.
That's right. It's a cornerstone concept.
Yeah, and the PMP itself, it isn't just about collecting a credential, is it? It's more a validation of your ability to actually lead and direct projects effectively, making sure they hit their mark and genuinely drive success for organizations.
Absolutely. It signals real capability.
It's a huge step for career growth, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. But maybe more importantly, for making a tangible impact, right?
Exactly. Making a difference.
So today, we're zooming right in on Chapter 2 of the Standard for Project Management. It's titled A System for Value Delivery. Now, I have to admit, a system for value delivery, it might at first glance sound a bit abstract, maybe a little academic.
It can seem that way initially, yes.
Like something you'd, gloss over in a textbook. But I'm genuinely intrigued by how it shifts our perspective. It feels like it moves us away from just managing tasks towards creating tangible value. So where does the rubber really meet the road for a project manager? Someone trying to deliver on this system in their day-to-day work. Because let's be honest, we're all aiming for more than just checking boxes off a list, aren't we?
That's the perfect question, really, to launch us into this deep dive. You've absolutely hit on the core of why Chapter 2 is so crucial. It truly is the bedrock. It forces everyone involved to think beyond seeing projects as just isolated endeavors. Instead, we need to recognize how they contribute to a larger strategic purpose within any organization.
Okay, so it's about the bigger picture.
Precisely. Our mission today is to unpack not just what a system for value delivery is, but really why it's the cornerstone of modern project management. We'll define value in a way that hopefully resonates. We'll understand how governance steers these often complex initiatives. We'll explore the diverse roles and functions involved and delve into the multifaceted environments projects navigate, including that increasingly critical link to product management.
Right.
And to your point about value, let's define it for you, our listener, right now. It's much more than just monetary gain, although that can be part of it, of course. Value in this context is really about worth, importance, or usefulness. It's the ultimate meaningful goal that should drive every single project we undertake.
Worth, importance, usefulness. Okay, I like that. It's broader. #tag deep dive discussion. Okay, let's unpack this then. We talk about projects creating value, and you've given us a definition that clearly goes beyond just the bottom line, beyond just the money. What does that mean in a practical sense? And what is this larger system that projects are supposed to exist within? It sounds like we need to zoom out a bit to really see the full picture first.
Precisely. You've got it. Projects never exist in a vacuum. They are integral parts of a larger interconnected system, always. And when the standard talks about an organization, it uses a very broad brush. It's not just your typical for-profit company,
Okay. So more than just business.
Oh, yes. It encompasses governmental agencies, huge enterprises, complex contractual arrangements, joint ventures, even specific partnerships where projects are undertaken. Any setup where projects happen, basically. Think of it like a grand orchestra. That sometimes helps.
An orchestra. Okay.
Yeah, the organization is the entire orchestra. All the musicians, the instruments, the conductor, the sheet music, the venue, everything working in harmony towards a common goal. Each section, maybe the strings or the brass, could be seen as a program or a portfolio.
Right. Groups of related things.
Exactly. And the individual pieces of music being rehearsed and performed, those are the projects.
I see. The specific pieces.
Yes. And the ultimate goal: to create beautiful, valuable music for an audience. Maybe invoking emotion, providing entertainment, or creating a shared cultural experience. The music itself.
Right.
That is the value.
That's a great analogy. Makes it much clearer.
Good. So how do projects, these individual pieces of music, actually produce this value? The standard gives us some wonderfully clear examples, moving beyond just a direct transaction. First, and perhaps most obviously, projects can create a new product, service, or result that directly meets the needs of customers or end users.
Okay, that's straightforward enough. Building something new.
Right. Imagine a software company, for instance, developing a new mobile app feature. maybe an AI-powered personal assistant, something like that. They do it specifically because user feedback overwhelmingly requested it, or maybe market research identified a clear demand.
Yeah, responding to what people want.
Exactly. That directly addresses a user need and delivers value. And that value isn't just potential revenue, but also user satisfaction, maybe competitive advantage.
Makes sense. What else?
Second, and this is where value broadens significantly, projects can also create positive social or environmental contributions.
Ah, so value isn't purely commercial.
Not at all.
Ah,
Think about a nonprofit organization. Maybe they launch a project to build a community garden in an underserved urban area.
okay.
That provides fresh produce, maybe educational opportunities, a beautiful green space. Or think about a city project implementing a new citywide recycling program.
Yeah, to reduce landfill waste, promote sustainability.
Precisely. These projects deliver immense value, even if that value isn't measured in traditional financial profit. It's measured in community well-being, ecological health, or public service.
Right, different kinds of worth.
Exactly. And third, projects often enable the changes needed to facilitate organizational transition to its desired future state.
Okay, like helping the organization change or adapt.
Yes, this is all about strategic transformation. For instance, a large multinational corporation undertaking a huge, maybe multi-year project to implement a new enterprise resource planning system, an ERP system.
Right, those are big projects.
They are. And it isn't just about installing software. It's about fundamentally streamlining operations, improving data visibility across departments, adapting to new market conditions, making the organization more efficient, more responsive, more competitive.
So the transition itself is the value.
Absolutely. That system transition is a huge value add. It shifts the organization into a better, more capable future state. It's strategic value. Hashtag tag 2.1.1 value delivery components.
That orchestral analogy really painted the picture of projects being part of a bigger system. It clicks now. But how does an organization actually deliver this value? You mentioned components like portfolios, programs, projects, products, and operations. That sounds like, well, a lot of moving parts. How do all these pieces fit together? How do they make sure that value actually gets to the stakeholders, to the end users?
That's where the concept of a system for value delivery truly comes into play. You're right, it is a lot of parts. These components, portfolios, programs, projects, products, and operations, they don't work in isolation, not effectively anyway. They are intricately interconnected. They form a cohesive system designed specifically to deliver value that is directly aligned with the organization's overarching strategy.
Okay, so they have to work together.
They have to. Think of it like a sophisticated, interconnected manufacturing assembly line. But instead of physical parts, we're assembling, well, value.
An assembly line for value. I like that.
Yeah. Each component has a specific, critical role in producing the final, valuable output. And they all have to work together seamlessly for the whole system to function properly.
Okay, let's break them down then. What's the role of each one? Let's start at the top.
Right. At the highest strategic level, we have portfolios. Think of these as strategic groupings. A portfolio is a collection of programs, individual projects, and sometimes even ongoing operations, all managed together to achieve specific strategic business objectives.
Okay, so really high level.
Very high level.
Yeah.
My metaphor for a portfolio is the organization's overall investment strategy. It's where the big decisions are made about what major areas to invest in, what strategic battles to fight, to achieve the company's long-term vision. It's about doing the right things, making the right choices.
Do the right things. Got it. What's next down?
Then there are programs. A program is a group of reloaded projects, subsidiary programs, and program activities that are managed in a coordinated way.
Related, coordinated. Okay.
The key here is coordination. You manage them together specifically to obtain benefits that wouldn't be available if you managed them individually.
So there's a synergy benefit.
Exactly. A great metaphor for a program is a major strategic initiative, like launching an entirely new product line.
Okay.
That initiative isn't just one project, right? It's composed of many smaller interconnected projects, maybe one for R&D, one for manufacturing, one for marketing, another for sales enablement.
Right. Lots of pieces.
Yes. And managing them as a program ensures their combined efforts achieve that larger strategic benefit of launching the whole line successfully.
Okay, makes sense. And then projects.
Next, we have projects themselves. As we've discussed, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result.
Temporary and unique.
Those are the keywords. They're the individual defined missions within those larger strategic initiatives or programs. They have a defined beginning and end and a specific objective. This is where the actual work awful happens, you could say.
Okay, and products. They fit in here too.
They do. Products. A product is a tangible good or an intangible service or capability that satisfies a need. It's often the output, the actual deliverable of a project or a program. Think of that new mobile app feature we mentioned earlier. That's a product. Products have their own life cycle too, which we'll touch on later.
Right, the output. And the last one was operations.
Yes, operations. This is the ongoing, repetitive work that sustains the business. Think day to day. Unlike projects, which are temporary with a defined end, operations are continuous. They keep the lights on, so to speak.
Okay, the ongoing stuff.
Exactly. And importantly, projects often transition their deliverables, like that new mobile app feature or the new ERP system, over to operations for ongoing maintenance, support, and day-to-day use. Operations is where the value created by projects is often sustained and realized over the long term.
Ah, okay, so the project creates it, operations keeps it going.
In many cases, yes. If you were to look at figures 2.1 and 2.2 in the standard, you'd see visual representations of how these pieces connect. A portfolio can encompass multiple programs and individual projects. You can also have standalone programs not tied to a larger portfolio or standalone projects just doing their own thing.
So it's flexible.
Very flexible. What's crucial to remember, though, is that any of these projects or programs can include products as their deliverables, and this whole system exists within the organization's internal environment, its own policies, structures, culture, and then that internal environment sits within an even larger external environment. Markets, regulations, society.
Right, the environments we'll talk more about later.
Exactly. We'll delve into those environments more deeply in a moment.
That assembly line analogy really clarifies how these pieces fit together, the portfolio, program, project, product, operations. It's clear. But sticking with that analogy, I can almost hear a business stakeholder saying, great, we built the car, the deliverable. And then maybe the product manager whispering, yeah, but is anyone driving it? Is it achieving the goal? It seems the standard really wants us to focus on the driving part, the outcomes, rather than just the car itself, the deliverable. How do we, as project managers or aspiring ones, make that mental shift from simply ticking off deliverables to truly aiming for meaningful outcomes? It feels like a subtle but, well, hugely important distinction.
You've perfectly articulated why this distinction is so critical. It is subtle but fundamental. And it's where the true value often resides, let's be clear. Deliverables are the tangible outputs of a project. They are what the project creates.
The what's the key?
Exactly. If your project is to build a new electric car, the finished car itself is the deliverable. You can touch it, see it, but the outcome is the end result or consequence of having that deliverable. It's why you built the car in the first place.
The why.
Precisely. The outcome of that new electric car isn't just the car sitting there. It's the efficient, sustainable, and comfortable travel it provides for the owner. It's the reduced carbon footprint for the environment. Maybe it's the enhanced brand reputation for the company.
Ah, okay. The consequence is the benefit.
Exactly. Another example, a deliverable might be a new software module. We built the code.
Okay, the module exists.
Right. But the outcome could be increased customer satisfaction because that module solves a major pain point they had. Or maybe it leads to reduced operational costs for the business because it automates a manual process. Or perhaps it results in improved data security.
Got it. The impact of the module.
Yes. The standard stresses that while deliverables are undeniably important, you can't have an outcome without a deliverable. Usually the ultimate focus for project management should be on the outcomes, because it's the outcomes that truly represent the worth, importance, or usefulness, the ultimate value to the stakeholders and the organization. We're not just building things, we're building things that achieve something meaningful and strategic.
That's a powerful shift in thinking.
It is. And shifting that mental model means constantly asking, what problem are we really solving here? What benefit are we actually delivering with this project? It moves us from being, just task managers to becoming value creators. Hashtag 2.1.2 information flow.
Okay, so value creators focusing on outcomes. I like that. So with all these components, portfolios, programs, projects, operations, products, and this clear focus on valuable outcomes, how does everyone stay on the same page? How does crucial information actually move through this complex value delivery system to keep everything aligned and, heading in the right direction? I can almost imagine a situation where one part of the sophisticated assembly line just isn't getting the right memo, or the memo gets lost.
You've put your finger on a very common point of failure in many organizations: information silos, lack of communication. Consistent and effective information flow isn't just important, it's absolutely crucial. It keeps the entire system aligned with the organization's strategy and, importantly, responsive to the dynamic environment it operates within.
And Vaughn's right. Things change.
Constantly. This isn't a static structure. It's a living system that needs continuous, intelligent communication. Think of it less like passing memos down a line and more like the nervous system of an organism.
Nervous system.
Yeah, coordinating everything from high-level thought, the strategy, down to muscle movement, the execution, and importantly, bringing back sensory feedback.
Feedback. That sounds key.
It is. We can visualize this as a two-way dynamic street. Or, perhaps better, a continuous feedback loop, as Figure 2.3 in the standard powerfully illustrates. There's a directional flow, which is generally top-down. It flows from strategy down to execution.
Okay, top-down.
Senior leadership at the very top communicates the strategic vision, the desired outcomes, the expected benefits, the overall value targets. They pass that down to the portfolios. These are the big picture goals. The portfolios then take the strategic information, they refine it, make it more concrete, and pass more specific desired outcomes and benefits down to the programs and individual projects.
Cascading down.
Exactly. As projects and programs complete their work, they produce deliverables. Those deliverables, along with all the necessary information for support and maintenance, are then passed on to operations. This ensures that the tangible outputs can actually be utilized and sustained in the real world. Get the value out of them.
Right, so operations knows what to do with it.
Precisely. But here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, often overlooked. There's also a critical feedback flow. This moves bottom up, from execution back up towards strategy.
The other direction. Bottom up.
Yes. Programs and projects provide performance information and progress updates back up to portfolios and senior leadership. They report on how well they're achieving those desired outcomes, or maybe flag issues, suggest adjustments are needed. And operations, importantly, also provide vital information. They feed back on how effectively the organization's strategy is actually advancing based on the real-world impact and uptake of the project's deliverables and products. Are customers using the new feature? Is the ERP system actually saving time?
So real-world results feeding back up.
Exactly. Let's use that eco-friendly product example again. Senior leadership sets the vision. Become the market leader in sustainable goods.
Okay.
Portfolio managers decide to invest heavily in the eco-home product line. Program managers then coordinate all the R&D, manufacturing, marketing, and sales projects for that product line.
The project teams build the product. Once launched, operations manages its ongoing availability, maybe collects data on sales, customer feedback, environmental impact metrics.
Okay. Gathering the data.
Now, what happens if the feedback from operations, say, about early customer dissatisfaction with a particular feature, or maybe surprisingly high demand for a different eco product they hadn't prioritized?
Yeah.
What if that information doesn't quickly make it back up the chain to the portfolio level, or even senior leadership?
Uh-oh. Bad decisions might continue.
Exactly. The entire system grinds to a halt in terms of learning and adaptation. Or worse, it continues to invest resources in the wrong direction based on outdated assumptions. That operational data, that performance data from projects, it has to flow back up the chain. It informs portfolio managers and senior leadership on whether the strategy is working, what adjustments might be needed for future product iterations, or maybe even entirely new strategic initiatives.
So it's a continuous cycle.
It absolutely has to be. It's a dynamic, iterative, and essential process for continuous learning and adaptation in a changing world. That makes perfect sense. The feedback loop is crucial for adapting and learning. You can't steer without seeing where you are and where you're going. So if this is such a sophisticated system for value delivery, with all these parts and information flows, then there must be something that keeps it all organized, controlled, and on track, right? That sounds exactly like what governance is supposed to do. What does organizational governance truly entail, especially for projects operating within this complex system? And thinking about your nervous system analogy, what happens when that operating system for governance crashes? Or maybe has a critical bug? That sounds like it could be disastrous.
You've hit on a critical point, absolutely. And your question about what happens when it crashes or has bugs is incredibly insightful, because it can be disastrous. If the value delivery system is the engine driving the organization forward, then organizational governance is indeed the operating system and the navigation system all rolled into one. It provides the structure and the rules. Governance systems provide a comprehensive framework. It's a framework of functions and processes specifically designed to guide activities, effectively manage issues that inevitably arise, and support sound decision-making across the entire organization and all its value delivery components.
Guiding, managing issues, decision-making. Okay.
Yes, it's essentially the rules of the road that ensure everything runs smoothly, ethically, and crucially in alignment with strategic objectives.
The rules of the road. I like that. Keeps everyone in their lanes.
Kind of, yeah. A robust governance framework isn't just about rules, though. It includes several key elements working together. It provides oversight, making sure things are going as planned and strategic objectives are being pursued. Are we on track? It establishes control mechanisms, managing deviations, ensuring projects stay within acceptable boundaries for things like scope, schedule, cost, quality, risk.
Keeping things within limits?
Right. It implements robust value assessment methods, constantly checking if we're still delivering the right outcomes, confirming that true worth is being created or is still expected. It fosters integration among all those different components we discussed: portfolios, programs, projects, operations, preventing silos and promoting synergy, making sure the left hand knows what the right hand is doing.
Breaking down silos, yeah, that's often a challenge.
It is, and crucially, it builds strong decision-making capabilities. It defines who makes what decisions, when they make them, and based on what criteria or information. Clarity on decision rights.
Who gets to decide what? That's important.
Extremely. This whole framework provides a coherent way to evaluate changes, issues, and risks in an integrated manner, looking across the whole value delivery system and its environment, not just within one project's bubble. To extend your computer analogy, governance is like the operating system. It provides the fundamental structure, the policies, the rules that allow all the applications or projects, programs, portfolios to run securely, efficiently, and in a coordinated fashion. It dictates how resources are allocated, how risks are managed, how decisions get escalated and made. It defines how success is measured and how accountability is maintained.
Okay, that analogy holds up well. So what about the crash scenario? What happens if governance fails?
Right, your excellent question. When governance crashes, has a major bug, or is just poorly implemented, that's when chaos often ensues. Without clear governance, projects can become rogue agents, pursuing individual goals that might not align at all with the overall organizational strategy. Maybe a pet project gets funded over something more critical.
Right, wasted effort.
Exactly. Decisions get made haphazardly, maybe based on who shouts loudest, not on data or strategy. Risks are ignored or downplayed until it's too late. Resources get wasted on low-value activities. And there's no clear accountability when things inevitably go wrong. Who is responsible? Nobody knows.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It really is. It's like an operating system riddled with vulnerabilities. It becomes inefficient, unreliable, prone to crashes, and ultimately fails to deliver the intended value no matter how good the individual applications or projects might be. That's why this integrated approach is key. It ensures that even when projects operate as standalone activities, perhaps not formally part of a program or portfolio, they are still subject to this overarching organizational governance. It maintains consistency and strategic alignment across the board.
So effective governance is non-negotiable for the system to work.
Absolutely. Without effective governance, even the best planned projects run by the most skilled teams can easily veer off course or simply fail to deliver their intended value. It's the essential guiding hand.
The operating system analogy for governance truly resonates. It provides the guardrails, the structure, makes total sense. But guardrails don't drive the car, do they? People do. And that immediately brings to mind the sheer diversity of roles and people involved in projects. Sometimes it feels like you're trying to orchestrate a jazz band where everyone's reading from different sheet music, or maybe everyone's wearing multiple hats at once. It can get complicated.
That's a fantastic way to frame it. A jazz band with multiple hats. I might use that one. You've nailed the reality. Projects are, at their core, human endeavors, full stop. They're full of the complexities, the challenges, but also the brilliance of people working together.
Right.
And you're absolutely right to emphasize that the standard talks about functions, not necessarily rigid job titles. That's a key distinction.
Yeah.
These are areas of responsibility that are incredibly variable and flexible depending on the organization, the project, the methodology.
So one person might do several things.
Definitely. In some organizations, one person might perform several functions. In others, maybe particularly in agile settings, a function might be distributed among multiple individuals or even handled collectively by a self-organizing team. The biggest misconception, I think, is often assuming these functions must map one-to-one to a specific job title held by a single individual. It's just often not that simple.
Okay, so flexibility is key.
Flexibility and clarity on who is responsible for the function, even if it's shared. The key takeaway is that regardless of how these functions are structured, centralized, decentralized, individual, team-supportive leadership, and continuous, meaningful engagement among project teams and stakeholders are absolutely fundamental to successful outcomes. Getting the people part right is crucial.
Totally agree. So let's talk about some of these key functions. Which ones really stand out?
Okay, let's delve into a few of the most impactful ones, keeping in mind that the full list is detailed in Section 2.3 of the standard. First, there's the function to provide oversight and coordination. Now, on the surface, this sounds like just managing the project, right? The traditional PM role.
Yeah, sounds like the project manager.
It often is, but here's the often overlooked insight. This function isn't just about sticking to the plan, tracking tasks. It's crucially about adaptive navigation. Think of a seasoned pilot. They aren't just blindly following a pre-programmed flight plan. They're constantly adjusting for unexpected turbulence, changing weather, maybe minor equipment glitches.
Adapting on the fly.
Exactly. We're talking about not just monitoring project health and progress against baselines, but proactively looking after team well-being, managing morale, fostering collaboration, especially in chaotic environments. That's often more art than science, frankly.
Right, the soft skills side.
Yeah. Hugely important soft skills. This could be your traditional project manager, yes, or maybe a scrum master facilitating an agile team's activities, always keeping an eye on both the objective and the human element. They also consult with leaders, might assist in business analysis, tendering, contract negotiations, developing the business case. It's broad.
Okay, much more than just task tracking. What's another key one?
Next, let's look at the function to present objectives and feedback. This is critical. These individuals, or this function, bring in the vital perspectives and clear direction directly from customers and end users.
The voice of the customer.
Yes, but here's a common pitfall. Sometimes teams don't clearly distinguish between a customer who might be the one paying for the project or contracting the work and the end user, the person who will actually use the product or service day to day.
They might have different needs or priorities.
They often do. And ignoring one side can lead to a project that, while technically successful, fails spectacularly in delivering real value because it doesn't meet the needs of the people actually using it. This function provides the requirements, clarifies the desired outcomes, manages expectations, and in adaptive or hybrid environments, the need for ongoing, continuous feedback is even greater. Regular input to the team is essential.
So who typically does this?
Could be a product owner in an agile team, acting as that primary voice of the customer, or maybe a key client representative in a more traditional construction project.
Got it. What else is crucial?
Then there's the function to facilitate and support. This role is sometimes closely related to oversight and coordination, but it has a specific focus on team dynamics, collaboration, and empowerment.
Okay, focusing on the team itself.
Exactly. It's all about encouraging project team member participation, fostering genuine collaboration, and nurturing a shared sense of responsibility for the outcomes. This function helps the team with decision-making processes, coordinates meetings effectively, and sometimes mediates discussions in an unbiased way to help the team move forward when they get stuck. Crucially, it also involves supporting people through the inevitable changes that projects bring and helping to identify and address obstacles or blockers that could prevent success.
Removing impediments.
Yes. The struggle here, I find, is that organizations sometimes underestimate the value of this dedicated soft skill function. They might assume teams will just naturally self-organize, collaborate perfectly, and resolve all their conflicts without any dedicated support.
But that doesn't always happen.
Rarely seamlessly. A skilled facilitator, whether it's a team lead, a scrum master, or someone else, can often be the difference between a high-performing collaborative team and a dysfunctional one that just spins its wheels.
Right. Okay, who actually does the work?
Ah, yes, the core function without which nothing gets built. Perform work and contribute insights. These are the people, the team members, who possess the core knowledge, skills, and experience necessary to actually produce the deliverables and ultimately realize the outcomes of the project.
The doers.
The doers, exactly. Their work can be full-time or part-time. They might be co-located or working virtually across the globe. Their skills can be highly specialized, like a cybersecurity expert or a specific type of engineer, or quite broad. Now, here's a common struggle related to this function. Not fully empowering these doers to contribute their insights beyond just completing their assigned tasks.
What do you mean?
Well, the people closest to the work often see potential problems or opportunities for improvement first. They might have ideas for doing things better, faster, cheaper, or for enhancing the deliverable in ways the planners didn't foresee.
But they might not speak up.
Exactly. If the project structure or culture doesn't actively encourage and value their input, that valuable frontline information gets lost. They need to feel safe and empowered to contribute insights, not just code or concrete.
So listen to the team.
Absolutely. These are your software developers, engineers, designers, testers, marketing specialists, writers, analysts, the hands and minds actually creating the project's output.
Okay. Any other key functions we should highlight?
Let's touch on provide business direction and insight. This is crucial for keeping the project aligned with the why. People performing this function guide and clarify the direction of the project or the product outcome. They are instrumental in prioritizing requirements or backlog items, making trade-offs based on business value, considering dependencies, and assessing technical or operational risks from a business perspective.
Making sure it makes business sense.
Precisely. They provide feedback, maybe set the direction for the next increment or element to be developed, always with the goal of maximizing the value of the project deliverable for the organization. This function is particularly important in ensuring the project stays focused on solving the right problem and doesn't get lost chasing features that don't add significant value.
Preventing scope creep, maybe, or ensuring valuable scope.
Both, really. It helps ensure the scope remains valuable and aligned. This could be a senior business analyst, a product manager, who we'll discuss more, or perhaps a key business sponsor who truly understands the market and the strategic goals.
Right. And you mentioned sponsors. Is there a specific function for them?
Yes, there's provide resources and direction. This is often where the project sponsor fits in, though others might contribute too. Individuals performing this function are often powerful advocates for the project. They promote the project internally, communicate the organization's vision and goals as they relate to the project, and help secure the necessary decisions, funding, resources, and authority for the team to succeed.
Championing the project.
Exactly. They act as a crucial liaison between senior management and the project team, ensuring the project remains aligned with business objectives and visible at the right levels. Crucially, they often have the political clout to remove high-level obstacles, things like funding shortages, interdepartmental conflicts, or unmet dependencies from other teams' problems that the project team simply cannot resolve on their own. They handle escalations.
So good sponsor is vital.
Immensely vital. And a common struggle, unfortunately, is when this sponsor is disengaged, too busy, or doesn't fully understand their role. That leaves the team feeling unsupported, fighting battles they shouldn't have to, and often significantly increases the risk of project failure.
Makes sense.
There are other important functions, of course, like apply expertise, bringing in specialized knowledge when needed, or maintain governance, ensuring the project adheres to the established framework, all detailed in the standard. But the overarching point here is that successful projects recognize, value, and actively support all these critical human contributions. It's about ensuring everyone involved understands their role in the bigger picture and feels empowered to contribute not just their job, but their insights and energy to the collective intelligence and ultimate value creation.
That's a really comprehensive look at the people side of things, the functions. It really highlights how many different roles and perspectives are needed and how they need to work together. But you also mentioned earlier, and we touched on it briefly, that projects don't happen in a vacuum. They exist in an environment. The standard emphasizes this project environment. How do these internal and external factors really influence projects day to day? And maybe what are some key examples that project teams need to be acutely aware of? Are there any factors that often become, I don't know, silent project killers, forces that most project managers think they can ignore, perhaps, but really do so at their peril?
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it, silent killers, or things people ignore at their peril, because the environment is influential. Think of the project environment as the ecosystem in which the project lives and breathes. It's definitely not a sterile laboratory. It's a dynamic, complex context with varying degrees of influence, sometimes subtle, sometimes overwhelming, on project outcomes. Project teams must understand and adapt to these environmental factors because they can significantly impact everything. The project's characteristics, the stakeholders involved, their expectations, and even the project team itself, how it functions, its morale.
So it's not just background noise.
Not at all. These environmental factors are active participants in your project's fate, whether you acknowledge them or not. Let's break it down into the two main categories the standard uses. First, the internal environment, section 2.4.1. These are factors within the organization or sometimes within a specific portfolio, program, or even another related project that directly affect your project. These are often things the organization, in theory at least, can control or directly influence.
Okay, things inside the company walls, more or less.
More or less, yes. And to your point about silent killers, while the standard lists many detailed examples, process assets, governance documentation, data assets, IT software, infrastructure, etc., let me highlight one internal factor that is often overlooked yet profoundly impactful: organizational culture, structure, and governance.
Ah, culture, that old chestnut.
Exactly. You can have perfect process templates, brilliant technical teams, ample funding, the best software. But if the prevailing organizational culture punishes honest mistakes, discourages open communication, fosters intense internal competition, or a blame game mentality, or operates in rigid silos, your project is already fighting a massive uphill battle, regardless of its technical merits.
So the way people work together, or don't, really matters.
Immensely. A culture that instinctively resists change, distrusts new initiatives, or is overly bureaucratic can derail a project faster than almost any budget cut or technical problem. It dictates the unwritten rules: the vision, mission, values, leadership style, ethics, how decisions really get made.
Yeah. Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine a project trying to implement a new, highly collaborative, agile framework in an organization with a deeply entrenched hierarchical command and control culture where information is power and managers dictate every detail.
Yeah, I can see the clash coming.
Right. The project is going to face immense resistance, probably passive aggression, maybe outright sabotage, not because the agile framework itself is bad, but because the cultural environment is fundamentally hostile to that new way of working. The organizational antibodies attack the new thing.
Wow. Okay, so culture's a big one. Any other internal killers?
Another subtle but potent one is resource availability. And I don't just mean whether the resources, people, money, equipment theoretically exist somewhere in the organization. It's also about the ease of acquiring them, the internal politics surrounding resource allocation, hidden constraints on contracting external help when internal skills are missing, competition between departments for the same critical people.
Right, the internal battles for resources.
Exactly. A project needing, say, a rare database specialist whose availability is severely limited by internal policies, or because they're constantly being pulled onto more important tasks by powerful executives, that project is going to struggle immensely, face delays, and potentially compromise on quality. It's not just if the resource exists, but can the project actually get and keep them?
Yeah, that happens all the time.
It does. Other internal factors like existing process assets, templates, tools, data assets, past project data, knowledge assets, that crucial tacit knowledge held by experienced staff, security policies, even the physical infrastructure, they're all important, definitely. But I find that culture and resource politics often sneak up on project teams and cause the most unexpected, hard-to-manage problems.
Okay, internal environment, culture, resource, politics.
Okay.
Watch out for those. What about the external side?
Right. Now let's look at the external environment. Section 2.4.2. These are factors outside the organization that can influence, constrain, or direct the project. Crucially, these are generally beyond the organization's direct control. You can't dictate market trends or government regulations, but the project team must still understand them, anticipate them where possible, and respond to them effectively.
Things you can't control but have to deal with.
Exactly. And ignoring them, as you suggested, is often done at a project's peril. These are the forces most project managers think they can keep at arm's length, focusing only on their internal tasks, but they can sideswipe a project completely.
So what's a big one here? Regulations seem obvious.
Regulations are definitely huge, especially in certain industries like finance or pharmaceuticals. But I'd argue that marketplace conditions, specifically a sudden disruptive move by a competitor or a rapid, unexpected shift in technology trends or customer preferences, is one external factor that can force a project team to rethink everything, often with very little warning.
Like a competitor launching something similar.
Exactly. Imagine your project is months, maybe years into developing a new, innovative product. You're following the plan, hitting milestones. Then, bam! A competitor, maybe a nimble startup, suddenly launches something very similar, maybe even better, or perhaps significantly cheaper.
Ouch.
Ouch is right. All your careful planning, your budget justifications, your timeline commitments, they could instantly become irrelevant if the market has fundamentally shifted or if your competitive advantage just evaporated overnight. This includes competitors, market share, brand recognition, technology trends, even things like trademarks. You have to keep an eye on the outside world.
So market awareness is critical, not just for sales, but for project viability.
Absolutely. Another often underestimated external factor is social and cultural influences. These are things like the political climate and the regions you operate, specific regional customs or traditions, public holidays that affect schedules, prevailing ethical standards, and broader societal perceptions related to your project or product.
How might that play out?
Well, think about a project to launch a new global online service. The team might meticulously plan the technical rollout, the server capacity, the translations, but utterly fail if it doesn't account for local customs around payment methods, different expectations for customer service, specific social norms for online communication and interaction, or even sensitivities around certain types of content or imagery.
Right, what works in one country might offend in another.
Precisely. Failure to consider these cultural nuances can lead to significant delays if you have to rework things, public backlash, damage to the brand's reputation, or even outright rejection of the project's outcome in certain markets. You need cultural intelligence.
Okay, market conditions, social, cultural factors, those are big external risks.
They are. And the standard also lists many others. The regulatory environment, national regional laws, data protection like GDPR, employment laws, licensing, commercial databases using industry cost data for estimates, academic research, incorporating new findings, industry standards, adhering to codes or quality benchmarks, financial considerations, currency exchange rates, interest rates, inflation impacting budgets, especially on global projects, and even the physical environment, weather conditions impacting construction or outdoor events, geographical constraints.
Wow, it's a huge range of factors.
It really is. So understanding both the internal and external environments isn't just some academic exercise the PMBOK guide suggests. It's fundamental to effective risk management, building adaptable plans, stakeholder management, and ultimately ensuring your project remains viable, relevant, and actually delivers true value amidst a constantly shifting landscape. Proactively assessing these environments, not just once at the start, but continuously throughout the project lifecycle, is really a hallmark of an experienced, strategically minded project professional. You have to look outwards as well as inwards.
That's a truly comprehensive picture of the environment, both inside and out. And it makes it crystal clear why project managers need to be aware of so much more than just their immediate project tasks and team dynamics. You need peripheral vision. Now this chapter, chapter 2, also brings in product management. For many project managers, maybe especially those in more traditional industries, that sounds like, well, maybe another department's job, or just another layer of complexity we need to somehow integrate into our already busy projects. How does that discipline, product management, actually fit into the world of projects, programs, and portfolios we've been discussing? Is it just another box to check, or is there a deeper, more crucial synergy we need to understand?
That's a really common reaction, actually. It can feel like another layer, another silo, another set of meetings to attend. But the standard includes it here for a very good reason. It's an increasingly crucial and, frankly, often unavoidable integration point in modern value delivery. The standard explicitly acknowledges that the disciplines of portfolio management, program management, project management, and product management are becoming profoundly interlinked. They overlap significantly.
So they're not totally separate worlds anymore.
Less and less so. While product management is its own distinct discipline, with its own body of knowledge, its own focus, understanding its relationship with project management is absolutely vital, especially when a project's primary deliverable is a product or significantly contributes to one. So think of it less about adding complexity and more about ensuring that what we build through our projects is also the right thing to build from a market and customer value perspective. It connects the how of project management with the what and why of product strategy.
Okay, building the right thing, that connects back to the value discussion.
Exactly. It all ties together. Let's quickly define product management and the product lifecycle just to set the stage clearly. A product, as we touched on, is simply a tangible good, like a phone, a car, or an intangible service or capability like a software subscription, a consulting service, something offered to a market. Product management, then, involves the integration of people, data, processes, and business systems to strategically create, maintain, enhance, and eventually retire a product or service throughout its entire life cycle. It's about the whole journey of the product.
The whole journey.
Okay.
And the life cycle.
Right. The product life cycle itself is generally seen as a series of phases representing a product's evolution in the market. A typical model includes introduction, launching the new product; growth, gaining traction, increasing sales and features; maturity, sales peak or plateau, focus shifts to efficiency and differentiation; and finally, decline, retirement. Sales drop, product is eventually withdrawn.
Intro, growth, maturity, decline.
Okay. To make this tangible, think of a specific smartphone model, say the iPhone 15. When it's first launched, that's its introduction phase. High marketing buzz, early adopters. As it gains traction, maybe new software features are added via updates, mini projects, sales climb, that's growth. When it's a well-established model, maybe the iPhone 16 is out, but the 15 is still selling steadily, perhaps requiring only maintenance projects or minor tweaks, that's maturity. And eventually, as newer models dominate and sales of the 15 dwindle significantly, it enters decline or retirement, perhaps leading to projects focused on end-of-life support or encouraging upgrades.
Okay, that makes the life cycle clear. So where do projects fit into that cycle?
That's the crucial intersection. Figure 2.4 in the standard illustrates this really well. This is where the synergy you asked about really comes together in practice. There are several ways they interact. First, product management often initiates projects or programs. A product manager, who is ultimately responsible for the overall success, market fit, and profitability of a product throughout its life cycle, isn't typically doing the hands-on project management themselves.
Right, they have a different focus.
Exactly. Instead, they might identify a need or opportunity related to their product and then work with the governance system to initiate multiple projects or even entire programs at various stages of the product's life cycle. For example, a project could be charted for the initial creation and launch of the product, introduction phase. Later, during the growth phase, another project might be initiated to add significant new features based on market demand or competitive pressure. During maturity, smaller projects might focus on cost reduction, maintenance, or minor enhancements. And eventually, a specific project might be initiated to manage the product's retirement or replacement. Each of these projects serves the larger product strategy defined by product management.
So projects serve the product's needs at different stages.
Precisely. Second, you can have program management within a product lifecycle. For very large, strategic, or long-running products, think about someone like Microsoft Windows or a major aircraft model. A program might actually be established to encompass the full product lifecycle itself, or at least significant multi-year parts of it. In this scenario, the program integrates many related projects for new versions, major updates, security patches, etc., and even subsidiary programs, all working towards the overarching long-term success and evolution of that single major product.
Okay, for really big products, the program manages its whole life.
Or large chunks of it, yes. Third, and most commonly perhaps, you have project management within a product lifecycle. As we mentioned, individual projects are regularly chartered, perhaps by portfolio governance, maybe requested by a product manager to perform specific enhancements, improvements, add features, fix defects, or create other unique outcomes. All these individual projects contribute to the product's evolving capabilities and value proposition, extending its useful life within its overall life cycle. These are the specific, temporary efforts that make the product better or different over time.
The building blocks of the product's evolution.
Exactly. And fourth, you can also think about product management within a program. This is where you apply the principles and practices of product management, focusing on market needs, customer value, competitive positioning specifically within the defined scope and boundaries of a larger program, which might be delivering multiple products or a complex system. This approach benefits significantly from bringing in core product management competencies like deep market research, competitive analysis, strategies for customer acquisition and retention, and robust customer advocacy, ensuring the product components developed within the program are truly successful and valuable.
Okay, so they can nest within each other too.
They definitely can. The key integration point here, and why product management isn't just another layer to ignore, is that programs and projects that have deliverables which include products absolutely require a tailored and integrated approach. You can't just manage it like any other project. It means consciously combining relevant bodies of knowledge, practices, and perspectives from both project management and product management.
So project managers need some product awareness.
Increasingly, yes. You can't just run a project to build a product in isolation, deliver it, and walk away. You need to understand, or at least collaborate closely with those who understand, the product's market context, its target users and their needs, its long-term strategic vision, its competitive landscape, and how it's likely to evolve over its entire life cycle. It's all about ensuring the project's output doesn't just technically work, but that it's the right thing to build for the product's ongoing strategic success, ensuring it creates maximum sustainable value for the customer and the organization over time. That's the synergy. Hashtag key learning points and recap.
Wow, okay. That was genuinely a deep dive. We've covered the system, the components, information flow governance, the human functions, the environment, and now the product connection. My head is definitely buzzing with all the connections and the nuanced insights there. Before we wrap up, let's try and distill this. What are the absolute must-know takeaways from today's discussion? The things our listener, who's likely either a practicing project professional or maybe aspiring to be one, absolutely needs to carry forward from Chapter 2.
Okay, let's distill it down. If you remember nothing else, remember these key points. These are the aha moments we want you to carry forward into your work. First and foremost, and we keep coming back to this, value is paramount. Just burn that into your brain. Projects fundamentally exist to create value, period. And that value can be tangible, intangible, social, environmental. It always goes beyond just delivering an output or checking off a task list. It's about achieving meaningful strategic outcomes. Always ask yourself, with every project decision, what real value are we creating or enabling here?
Value first. Got it.
Second, always maintain the systemic view. Projects never operate in isolation. Don't manage them as if they do. They are an integral part of a larger system for value delivery, comprising those portfolios, programs, projects, products, and operations. All these components must work in concert and be strategically aligned with the organization's overarching goals. Your project is a crucial cog, not a standalone machine. See the connections.
See the whole system. Okay.
Third, acknowledge and foster dynamic information flow. Effective communication, that critical two-way street we discussed, is vital. Both top-down flow, cascading strategy, vision, priorities, and crucially, bottom-up flow, reporting performance, sharing insights, providing feedback to inform decision-making. This is essential for the entire system's alignment, its responsiveness to change, and its capacity for continuous learning. Don't let information silos or feedback bottlenecks cripple the system.
Keep the information moving both ways.
Fourth, understand and respect governance as the guiding framework. Organizational governance provides that essential structure, the rules of the road, the operating system for oversight, control, decision-making, and for managing risks and changes across the entire value delivery system. It's what keeps the machine running smoothly, ethically, and strategically towards the right goals. Don't try to bypass it, understand it, and work within it. Or help improve it if it's broken.
Governance provides the guardrails and direction.
Fifth, appreciate the diverse project functions. Success relies on a multitude of different human contributions, different functions from providing that adaptive oversight and coordination, to actively performing the hands-on work, to providing crucial business direction and sponsorship. Each role, however it's defined or distributed in your context, contributes significantly to achieving project objectives. Recognize the human element, support all the functions, and nurture collaboration.
It takes a village, essentially. Many roles needed.
It really does. Sixth, cultivate constant environmental awareness. Projects are profoundly influenced, sometimes buffeted, by both internal organizational factors, things like culture, structure, resource availability, politics, and powerful external forces, such as market shifts, regulations, social trends, and financial conditions. You simply cannot afford to ignore these active participants in your project's fate. Proactive awareness and adaptation are absolutely key to navigating them successfully. Look inside, look outside.
Be aware of the context. Got it.
And finally, number 7, recognize the growing project synergy. Product management is deeply intertwined with project and program management, especially when the product's output is a product or service. This requires a more holistic understanding of the product lifecycle to ensure products deliver not just features that work, but true product success and sustained value over time. It's about building the right thing for the market and the customer, as well as building the thing right technically.
Understand the product connection. Okay, those 7 points really summarize it well. So thinking about our listener, what does this all mean for you as a project professional or someone looking to become one? I guess it means really understanding the bigger picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It means seeing your project not as just an isolated task to be managed and checked off a list, but as a vital, connected component in your organization's engine for creating sustainable, impactful value. It's about moving beyond simply managing tasks and timelines towards truly driving strategic outcomes that resonate deeply with the organization's mission and purpose.
That's a perfect summary. It's about elevating the perspective and the impact. #tag closing note.
And with that insight, we've reached the end of another, I think, incredibly insightful deep dive here at AudioCert. Thank you so much for joining us today and investing your valuable time in digging into Chapter 2, A System for Value Delivery. This has really laid a crucial foundation, hasn't it? Showing how everything connects from the highest strategic levels down to the individual project tasks, and importantly, how you, the project professional, fit into that grand scheme of creating value.
It has been my pleasure. It's a foundational chapter for a reason. And as you, our listener, reflect on this discussion, maybe consider this. How does truly understanding this system for value delivery empower you? Not just to manage projects more effectively, checking the boxes, but to truly lead strategic initiatives. Initiatives that genuinely resonate with your organization's core mission and purpose, and that can adapt and thrive in a constantly changing world. Here's a final thought to ponder. How might you, in your very next project, or even your current one, proactively make the connections between your project's specific deliverables and the ultimate business or customer outcomes they're intended to achieve? How can you better articulate that link? And how can you ensure that the crucial feedback from operations, from users, from the market isn't just heard, but is actively looped back to inform decisions and keep the entire system learning and adapting? Answering those questions proactively. That's where the real power of this knowledge lies.
What a fantastic challenge to leave us with, thinking beyond the project plan to the real impact and the learning cycle. Excellent. Next time, we'll delve even deeper into understanding the foundational principles that guide effective project management, moving into Chapter 3. Should be another great discussion. Until then, from all of us here at AudioCert, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep. Farewell.